Jan, this has been the end of the Singapore
Yes.
leg of the freestyle chess. I wanted to ask you a few things about the next year because it's an amazing announcement. There is already 5 events lined up. My first question is, how is it that you are able to announce everything in such advance, which has not been done in chess before?
Well, first of all, my history is always I'm kind of building the pavement while I'm walking. So that's basically always, you know. So I'm not the person, I've never been in none of my business, have been the person who is just waiting for months and years for every little dot and whatever to be crossed. It takes forever, and all lawyers to look upon that you would never get anything done, especially in this world. It's going to be, it's being more and more complicated every time. So of course, you know, I put myself under pressure. And I bring out some stuff that maybe is not working out in the end, but in the end, so then I explain why it doesn't work out. So for example, I announced India in Weissenhaus in February, also with the intention to have, you know, some people come out of the woodworks and say, okay, it would be great if we could do it in India. Nobody came out of India, so I said, okay, then instead we do it somewhere else. You know, this is why we are now in the US, for example, and maybe India. So as I said, India is not, I say it now clear, you know, it's still another intention. You know, we are also talking right now, other than that, we're talking to interested party in Delhi. So there is something behind it. But also, for example, in this development, it's, as we have seen here, the Singapore development, which also was very short term, because like 2 weeks ago, we didn't even know whether we were welcome here, and we had some, you know, event spaces being cancelled on us, and we didn't know why, and so on. So in the end, we said, okay, let's play it safe. We first of all, shall we do it at all? Shall we do it maybe somewhere else? Shall we do it at another time? We said, okay, let's stick to Singapore because everybody knows it, that we're going to do it. So then we rented this yacht, for example, right? So as a backup, say, okay, when all these venues are canceling on us, so we especially know that we are free to do it on the yacht because that's under our control. And so then when it was clear that it's all very easy here, and you know that we are very welcome, and Singapore really likes to have us here, and everybody else. So we said, okay, let's do it here in these events. But we still had the yacht, so we said, okay, let's do it all, right? So this is why we came up with the different venues. Yeah, it's of course much more complicated and so on, but still we got it done in a few days. We set it up, and it's all spectacular and perfect. But if we would have planned it like long ago, we would of course have only one venue. You know, first we would not go. But yeah, now we have the benefit of like saying, okay, we had the air, four elements, right? We were in the sky, like in the 70th floor. We were on the water. We were in the ground yesterday in the vault. And I always say Holly says this is her idea, like the players are on fire, so like the 4 elements. And so this is kind of what we're saying. And so now, all of a sudden, the world and Singapore and everybody says, wow, they really showcase our city. You know, they really show what Singapore has to offer, instead of just going to kind of some Congress Hall and have people playing without light and whatever, and nobody knows where you are basically. So it can be anywhere on a green grass somewhere. So this is now, even now, I get approached now by cities. I can't tell you some names, but for example, a US city was applying to say, okay, do it in our city. We will give you a lot of host fees so that you can come to our city and showcase it here. So all of a sudden we have now an additional line item in our business plan. We say, okay, we can add host fees. And so we say, okay, are we going to Tokyo? I was just asked, what about Tokyo and Japan? I said, yeah, it's all great cities. I mean, there are like many more cities. If our limiting factor is we can't have more than 6 events a year because we don't want to overwhelm the players. We don't want to overwhelm the schedule. We don't want to create a big fuss about scheduling with anybody else. So I think every 2 months is a great slam. It's perfect. By the way, there was a little shock moment. Magnus said he didn't like the word Grand Slam. I was like, and then I was asking him, so you should have told me. He said, it was a joke. Okay, nobody understood it was a joke except me. He said, like, okay, well, very, very good. So I was like, I mean, just tell me, you know, we name it somewhere else. It's like his show, so we can do it.
First of all, I'm a little bit disappointed that we are continuing the dilution of language, because there originally a Grand Slam was winning every major tournament in tennis. and we are calling the tournaments Grand Slams, and this is what people are doing. I'm just saying that originally it was not originally they were majors. Okay, it's that's it's just a joke. Regardless.
Anyway, so we do these 6 Grand Slams, and so I think it'll become in the future. We'll say, okay, because we definitely want to go in different regions. We don't want to say, okay, like 6 European cities make high bids, and we are a European circus. So we have the highest bidder kind of in Europe and in Asia and so on. So this is how we're going to select, I think, in the future. But this also, like, this idea just came up now, because I was asked about some other city, and so this is how I'm doing it. So I can just explain you what my plan is, and you always have to have a long-term plan, because if you don't plan accordingly, then you will be faced with a situation that all of a sudden the date is there and you have nothing planned. So you have to do some planning, but you also have to be flexible to say, okay, well, in the end, maybe we set out New York, it's good. Now we have a great opportunity. We'll go to Las Vegas. I think it's also great. But we didn't change the names on the location there, because you never know if maybe it goes back to New York. You never know. But the general idea, I think, is clear, and there's no confusion about it. And the immediate next time is clear. So we have all set for Weißenhaus. All players have signed up, and this is like, compared to Singapore, it's going to be so much easier, because it's just a repeat kind of thing. We already did it once, and so we just did it, do it again in that quality.
When you do certain things here in Singapore, my first thought was like, why is this being done? For example, the photo shoot at the helipad, or the photo shoot with Marina Bay Sands at the back. And the thought of entire chess community, like yesterday, those golden bars being set up, and then a chessboard. And there were some people who were saying, like, why is this being done? Can you explain your thought on this?
Okay, so as I said, we are going to Singapore, and in these days especially, we could also just stay home. I mean, it's much easier. Everybody can stay home. People stream from home, but it's not interesting. Nobody would be interested. So we come here, we make all the effort. It's really a long way for me, and you know how it is to go to Europe. Like for us, to come here, it's like a 7-hour time difference to Europe, and so it's like really stressful to come here. And so we make the most out of it. We really want to make, always, if we do the effort, we want to have it perfect, and we make the most out of it. And so when I looked at also how we promote chess, I look in terms of pictures. And so, for example, there's the picture in my mind that is 20 years old. Most of the world knows the picture. It's the tennis match of Agassi Federer on the helipad of Burj Al Arab in Dubai, right? So this is the great setup. So I said, I want to create a similar iconic picture for chess. And as we're in Singapore, we said, okay, let's get all the great photographers, so let's go to all of these locations, because we don't know yet which is the iconic picture. Is it maybe the one where the players are in the pool of the Marina Bay Sands? Is it the one from the Super Tree Grove upwards with the Marina Bay Sands in the background? Is it the one we did yesterday on the yacht? Basically, we took the yacht out and had some great pictures, like with Singapore in the background. Is it the helipad, for example? Because it's a similar, like the Dubai, we had the helipad. So we have like all these 5 different options of photo shoot locations, and we're gonna evaluate and see like who has done the best picture, and we're gonna take. I'm sure that it's gonna be the guy behind you. So do another picture. That's gonna not be the iconic picture, I think. But so he's gonna, and we're gonna find out what it is, and then we really optimize the picture. And I want to make sure that this picture sticks in the minds of the people, similar like to tennis one for the next 20 years.
And that's a very different way to look at how to promote chess, because until now it was always related to broadcast. That you try to do a good broadcast, sponsors will come in there. What has been your experience of attracting sponsors to freestyle chess? Because that is a very important thing to sustain this entire tour.
Exactly. So it's exactly our goal is to have a sustainable business. Nothing. Where I did the first tournament, like at Weißenhaus, for $2 million out of my own funds, and I said but there are a lot of like rich people who do important things for chess because they like it and they have their ideas. but it's not going to be that way. I'm not that interested, honestly, to basically spend like millions to just further some kind of what. I'm interested to jumpstart things, to really put energy in it and funding, initial funding money, and then it has to run by itself and has to be self-sustained. That's the venture capital approach. That's what I have done for 15 years in my life, building up companies from zero. So I have the experience in there, and we have all the ingredients, and we took in the venture capital investors' money now in order to be self-confident and to do it, and not having to go to sponsors and to say, okay, you sponsor ABC, if you give me money, I will do this and this and this. Said no. We are self-confident, we have the money, we do exactly what we think is right, and then we go to the sponsor and said, do you want to be our beverage sponsor? Do you want to be our car sponsor? Do you want to be our whatever? So this is what we're doing right now, and the feedback is amazing. We're getting, I can tell you, we're getting great names, really household great names as sponsors that will then carry it, and that they will carry most of the business plan in the first 1 or 2 years, the line item of sponsorships. Then you have later on you have streaming and media rights and so on. But in the beginning, we want to have a wide audience, so basically give all the content for free, right? And so you don't want to be behind a paid wall somewhere, you know. But once you're big, like Formula One or whatever, you can also say, okay, now switch on certain things like for a pay offer. Then we have, you know, the business plan lineup of the host fees, as I said, you know, where the cities are coming. We're gonna promote the players individually. We have hired, you have met her, you know, a person who is basically acting as their agent, you know, as kind of trying to get the personalities out, trying to optimize their, you know, the personal sponsorships and so on. See, Magnus has a sponsor, but all the other ones don't have really sponsors. So we're going to have this kind of thing, and we're taking about all elements with the goal of making this a sustainable business within 2 or 3 years time frame.
It's amazing, and if it works out, it'll be brilliant for chess. Finally, I want to ask you, what has been your experience working with Magnus? I see him here doing all sorts of things, you know, photo shoots. Also, Fabi was here. He was also very, very cooperative. But Magnus in general, it's his baby as well, along with you.
Yes.
How has been his involvement here?
I think it's more he's very much involved. I mean, we gotten over the year, we got very close here with him, and so I think he knows that he can trust me, and I will not put him like up for like you know, you have to do this, you should do, or please, I cannot tell him what he has to do, but please do this, whatever. So also with the whole family, Henrik and so on, they all referred to me, said, okay, you decide. You know, there should be only a number of things that Magnus should do. If you think it's furthering freestyle chess and us, you know, please let us know. So we are working on specific things where I think it's very important for Magnus to be exposed and to talk to people. Of course, aside from like such events, he will talk to everybody, and he's like such a nice person. He will give autographs to everybody. But in the end, terms of like, are we doing specific things? Are we going to specific places? Are we going to specific media outlets to just do it? Is it doing it on his own? Maybe we do it together. We have these things planned. And so I think over the year, the trust has grown. Our relationship has become very close. And in this, he now knows if I tell, you know, please do it, he will do it, right? So that's basically, I think, our current relationship, and I hope it's going to. This is why I was so surprised when he said, well, I was like, well, just tell me.
Yeah, and thank you for doing this, and also all the best, because I think you are blazing new paths in the world of chess.
Thank you very much.